I think once you've actually learned how to really try one thing for an extended period of time, every single day, and taken all of your discretionary effort and your money and your time and your resources and put it towards just doing that thing, number one, you realize how few things you can really do well because of the amount of time that it takes. The second thing is you realize how easy it is to beat everyone else because of how few of them actually do that. And learning how to try becomes a generalizable skill across domains. So when you do learn how to play the saxophone, and if you want to pick up tennis, you think about how many sessions you did to fix your fingers and play a more advanced thing over and over again. And then when you realize that the domains are similar in terms of skill achievement, you're like, oh, this is the same thing. And then when you go like, oh, I need to make content now, it's like, oh, it's the same as hitting 500 forehands and 500 backhands, and I make 500 tweets and 400 posts. And if I do it for an extended period of time and I take the feedback and I don't stop, I'll probably beat most people.
Lazy people don't know how to start. Weak people don't know how to finish. Successful people don't know how to stop. People demand success, but refuse to work weekends. People want opportunity, but won't talk to strangers. People claim ambition, but sleep in every day. We are the result of our actions, not our aspirations. Everything worth doing is hard, and the more worth doing it is, the harder it is. The greater the payoff, the greater the hardship. If it's hard, good. It means no one else will do it. More for you.
I think a lot of entrepreneurship and even personal growth is training yourself on how you respond to hard. Because in the early days, hard was, ooh, stop. This isn't good. This is a warning sign. This is a red flag. I should slow down, or I should stop, I should pivot. But the more I think about it as a competitive landscape, as I'm clear on what this path is supposed to look like, and these rocks and these dragons are things that I'm going to have to slay along the way to get the princess or get the treasure, I get happier about the harder it is because I know that no one else will follow. And I think if you can shift from this is hard to no one else will be able to do this, then it flips from being this thing that you're like, oh, poor me, to oh, poor everyone else who's going to have to fucking try. And I think that is so much more motivating as a frame for the exact same circumstance. If you see that you have an empty calendar, most people assume that if someone asks you for that time, it's therefore theirs. And it's only not theirs when someone else has claimed it, which means that your time only belongs to other people. And then you're surprised by the fact that your investment of time has yielded nothing for you when you've given the only and most valuable asset that you have to everyone else, who often give a very poor return on it for you. And so in the beginning, if you don't have money, the only thing you have is time. And so that is the only thing it's the only currency you can spend to improve yourself or get closer to your goals. And so if that's the one currency you have, then why on earth would you give it away? The life that I'm living today is a result of the work that I did 6 and 12 months ago. And so if you were to look at my calendar 6 and 12 months ago, then you might extrapolate out to what I'm doing today. But just like people want the immediate reward, they also see their current condition as a result of the behavior they're doing today. It's not at all. And so that's why I think having, in some ways, a very vivid imagination of, like, this is where I think the benefit of, quote, visualization comes into play. I don't see it as much as a benefit for like, oh, I have to imagine this thing to happen. But I think it's more powerful to think, I'm doing this thing today and I'm imagining it happening. So it's an approximation of the feedback loop that you want to have. And so it helps you substitute and get through the period where nothing's actually happening. And so it's this continuous reinforcing cycle of the me and other me holding the whip behind me to see how much I can take. But with each lash of the whip that I take, learning that I can take it and continue to trudge on. And so as long as you keep going, you bear witness to yourself of what you are capable of. And I find that incredibly satisfying in the trenches of misery when you have to go through it.
But it means that you're not full of shit.
I'm still here.
It means that you're not full of shit.
And so reframing what I used to consider a problem as a point of evidence that I am on the path that I originally chose. I think a hopeful message that anyone can think about who's in that hard period or in that start period is that it won't get harder. Like, this is the hardest part. And so if you can just make it through this, everything else is downhill. It's not that the things that the dragons are going to slay aren't going to get bigger. They are. But you become so much more equipped to slay them back. And you have so many more allies. You have people in the stands cheering for you. You have the audience. You have all of these other things that are behind you. But in the beginning, it's just you with a stick against a bear. And arguably, that fight is a harder fight to win than beating a dragon when you have a nuclear bomb and 6 nations behind you. And so it's not even like the size of the hardship, it's just also the resources and how few of them you have, and how so much of the beginning is literally burning the one thing you have, which is time. because you have no leverage. You don't have the money to pay other people to help you. You don't have the resources to go like get someone no one can learn it for you. It's like there's a lot of the things that we care about a lot. Like no one can work out for you. It doesn't matter how much money you have. No one can learn skills for you. And so in the early days, like it feels so painful because you're like, you look around to see who can help you and then you're like, fuck, it's me again.
It is so easy to win. Like that, I mean, like when I hear that, that's exactly what I think. I'm just like, man, for everyone who's like struggling to win, it's like most of the pain that people experience is purely in their own minds. And so to your point, I think there's an interesting one between like burnout versus hard. And so like for me, burnout is when I would define it as my output per unit of time decreases. So I can see that that's measurable. Now, like I can say like number of pages that I edit or the quality of the content that I create, like my output per time, like the team knows when I'm like 6 hours, 7 hours into recording something, they're like, I literally start like slumping. You're like physically, I just start like slumping and I like my cadence isn't as like, I'm just not as sharp, right? There's that versus emotional burnout, which I think people mislabel as burnout when really it's just like they don't know how to reframe reality. And so what it really is they got a comment on a post that bugged them. And like, again, it's like pulling it from the shadows. It's like, no, this stuff doesn't work. It's like, hold on. What's the one voice that actually is coming through? What is the real thing? Well, there was this comment. Okay, great. It's embarrassing to even have to say that. But when you say it, then you admit it and all of a sudden you put it in the light and the shame kind of starts to evaporate because then you can name it and be like, is this comment bigger than my future? Is this comment bigger than me? And one of the things that that has helped me was saying like, what's true about this? What if we confront it and say like, what if they're right? Now what? Because I think a lot of effort gets put into trying to deny reality. One of the things that I had earlier on in my career was like, I didn't think I was a really good person. Like I was like, I'm not a good person. And one of the things that gave me a lot of respite or relief from that kind of thought process was like, that's okay, because I can still do the things that create success and not deserve it and still get it. You don't have to deserve the girl, but you can still do the things that get her. They spend so much effort trying to fight the fact that the comments might be right. This might have been a terrible thumbnail. Yep. You know what? This might have been a boring video. This post might have been regurgitated content. This post might have been inspired too closely by someone else's post. What if they're right? And does it make me a piece of... What if it does? And...
you end up getting down to base, which is pretty much nothing.
Right.
All that there is actions. All that there is what you're going to do in response to this. Yeah. Goggins said this in the episode with me, and it gave me chills when he said it. He was like, it's so easy to be successful nowadays because people are weak.
Yeah.
Everybody's weak.
You stay in poverty until you learn the first lesson of poverty, which is 2 words, my fault. And so when I was younger, I was really angry at my parents, like many people are, right? Justified or not, doesn't really matter. I was very angry and I blamed them for the woes of my life. And I realized that when I was 19 that these people that I hated, I was giving all the power over the fact that I wasn't the person I wanted to be. And I was like, well, it's their fault. And the idea that I had actually given these people that I hated power over my success was ultimately something that made me feel sick to my stomach and was what allowed me to point the finger of blame inwards and say my fault, and then at least take ownership over the fact that sure, maybe your dad didn't hug you enough, or maybe your mom wasn't present, or whatever it is, right? It's like, and power follows the blame finger. So like wherever you point the blame finger is where the power follows. And so it's like if you point it at the government has the power. If you point it at your spouse and say like it's their fault that I'm not in shape, it's their fault, they never let me do anything, it's like, well, you're giving them all the power. And so it's like until you're like it's my fault, it also becomes my responsibility. What is?
What if it's not your fault?
It doesn't matter. Like I can't run marathons because I lost my leg at birth. And either you can just never try, or you put the metal thing on and you do it anyways.
Everybody wants to hear the 0 to 1, not the 50 to 55 or 80 to 85 or 95 to 96. Yeah. They don't want to hear about the top end stuff because it sounds more exclusionary, right? Because by definition, most people are on the come up as opposed to closer to the top. But I think it's important to give people an idea of what are the pitfalls that are coming up for you. If you do what you say that you want to achieve, which is become better in whatever it is that you want, even becoming better as a parent, becoming better as a dog owner, becoming better as a friend or whatever, as you become more advanced, there will be fewer and fewer people that can give you advice about what you're going to come up against. No matter how good I get at this thing, I will always have to do boring shit. And that's not a bug, it's a feature. And not only is it a feature, it's a source of competitive advantage, because as things get more salubrious, as you raise up through the ranks, other people will have the same thought that you do, which is, I shouldn't need to do this shit anymore. You go, okay, so if you can continue to lean into the stuff that you did at the start, At the end, that's where the competitive advantage lies.
So if you can't define the inputs and outputs that are going to get you what you want, then there's no way to start, right? Because you don't know what you're supposed to do. So you have to define it down to like the most basic first actions. It's like, if I want to start creating content, then it means I have to post something. If it means I have to start doing I always think in terms of business because that's what I'm in, but like I'm either doing a cold reach out, I'm doing a cold call, cold email, cold DM, whatever that is. I have to make a piece of content. I have to post it. I have to make a podcast. I have to make a YouTube video. I have to make a short, whatever that is, make a blog post. I have to run an ad. Right? I have to run the ad. I have to press go. I have to spend the money. Whatever it is, like whatever that core initial action.
Go to the gym,
input.
lift the weight, put the shoes on, get in the car.
Whatever the input is, you have to define what the input is that's going to get you the output you want. Now, once you know what that input output is, the next one is, why aren't you doing it? When the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change. And I think pain moves people far more effectively than pleasure does. Like the easy way to prove it is like point a gun at someone's head and you have absolute compliance and they will do what they need to do. Right? Automatically, just like that. Like death is the great motivator and the gun just reminds you. I think that if you can create the figurative gun to your head of the pain that you're experiencing, and then I'm a big fan of future casting out negative scenarios. So people talk about like positive visualization. I prefer negative visualization, which is, what if I keep doing what I'm currently doing for the next 10 years? What will my life look like then? That usually takes my current pain and then just magnifies it. And then that allows me to get my action threshold high enough that it goes over the edge so that I can take that first move. And so if you know what the inputs outputs are of what you need to do, the guy who has the little quote on his wall, and you figure out whatever fuel you've got, not the one you wish you had, but the one you've got, and you use that to do the first input, you've crossed the line. You're in the game.
When the natural road toward human fulfillment is blocked, human beings retreat into themselves, become involved in themselves, and try to create inwardly that world which some evil fate has denied them externally. If you cannot obtain from the world that which you really desire, you must teach yourself not to want it. If you cannot get what you want, you must teach yourself to want what you can get. This is a very frequent form of spiritual retreat in depth into a kind of inner citadel in which you lock yourself up against all of the fearful ills of the world.
And so the point of success is to do the things that make you successful. And so if you're doing the things that are making you successful, then you are by definition winning. The point of the game is to keep playing. And like, there are some things that I remind myself over and over again. It's like, the point of the game is to keep playing. That's the point. That is the point, is to just keep playing. People look at champions and try and find something that champion has that they don't have. And he's like, but it's not that at all. He's like, they lack something everyone else has, which is an off button. They just don't stop. At the end of the day, like if we're optimizing for outcomes, then the most broken person will win. The person who has the absolute biggest, desire for achievement, the absolute biggest fear or pain that they're running away from, and the hardest impulse control. Now, impulse control, most people would agree, is a good thing. The other two, not as much. And so what are we optimizing for? What problem are we solving? It's my favorite. It's probably the number one most frequently asked question that I ask to our portfolio companies whenever we're about to do anything, which is, what problem are we solving? If the problem that we're solving is that I want to be content, well, there's a lot of ways to do that. You don't need to do all these other things. If the problem you're solving is that you want to be the richest man in the world, well, you're going to have a lot of superiority complex. You're going to have a lot of crippling insecurity, and you're going to have a lot of impulse control, and you're going to have to wait a long time. If they can do it, so can I.
I think type A people have a type B problem, and type B people have a type A problem. Insecure overachievers need to learn how to chill out and relax, and lazy people need to learn how to work harder and be disciplined.
I'm a big fan of being directionally correct rather than absolutely correct. And so I think what happens is most people are trying to find the perfect answer when they have no perspective from which to make a judgment. They're trying to find the perfect thing to do when they haven't done anything. So how would you have perspective to make a judgment? What do I hate doing? Well, let me not do that, which is, sitting on meetings all day and doing whatever, doing grunt work that I felt like was meaningless. And instead, I was like, I'll do fitness because I like fitness. And I was like, at the very least, I'll do something I enjoy. Doing things like we did in the past that reward us will reward us again in the future. That's where our behavior comes from. If you're looking for the perfect investment, you won't find one. There's always downsides. Every investment has risk. Right? And so using that frame, you're like, well, there's all these paths. Which one do I choose? It's like, well, the one thing that's guaranteed is if you keep the money, it will go down in value because it'll inflate, right? So not investing is the only way guaranteed to not get a return on your investment. The only win you get from not prepping and showing up to the fight is that you appear to be more naturally gifted. And I would rather be known for my work ethic than my natural gift, as an aside, but you appear to be more naturally gifted, and then you win by less than you would if you prepared. Because they're projecting the things that they know they should be doing that you are doing that they're not doing, and you remind them of that. And so even though the mountain that you're climbing is actually a smaller one than the one that you ultimately want to climb, you're actually at the top of their mountain. And so they start tearing you down. So like, that's where the underdog story that we said at the very beginning of this with the quote, which is like, on the way up, they root for you. And then when you're at the top, they try and tear you down because you remind them of the dreams that they couldn't accomplish, right? And so you quitting drinking, or you staying in to work on your side hustle or your project or the business that you want to launch, or the podcast, you might be at the top of their mountain. And so they are tearing you down because now you remind them that they haven't done it. And it's purely a projection of them onto you and has nothing to do with you. If you're going through that right now, and I promise you, every single person who wants to do something with their life and has done something with their life has gone through the exact chapter that you're going through. And it's the lonely chapter. The sign of success is the hate that you get along the way. And what you can't do is bend the knee to their hate and fit back into the conformity because it's comfortable and it's warm. Because like in the Matrix, when Trinity opens the door, when Neo's about to go take the red pill and he wants to get out of the car, she says, Neo, you've been down that road and you know exactly where it leads. And I know that's not where you want to be. And then he closes the door. Like right now, this moment that you're going through is Trinity opening the door and being like, you could go back, but then you'd have to remember exactly what the reason was that you decided not to go out to begin with, just because you listen to this podcast and you consume this content, you're like, I can do more than this. Like, because you are starting to live in some of that, how where you look in the mirror and you're like, I can do more. And you start to see the person that you could be. And you're like, this does start to feel like hell. Once you actually give yourself the reality glasses, not the woe is me glasses, but think, no, really, if I had to do this, what are all of the things that I would have to improve? Then you see how incredibly long that list is. And then you take this deep breath, and that list is the hard work. It's starting at the top and then wanting to cross the first one off after your first day, but then realizing you still haven't done it well enough to cross it off. And you're like, wait, I have to do another day and I still haven't, quote, made a dent in this list. And then you do it another day and a third day and a fifth day and a fifth week. And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, I think I've got the first one done. And then you still look at this list, but along the way of doing that first one, you realize 20 other things that you could add to that list. I'd say one of the strongest mental frames that has got me through my hardest times is thinking this will be the story that I will one day tell. And that means the harder it is, the bigger the dragon, the more epic the story, and by consequence, the more epic the hero. And if you think about the difference between winners and losers, winners define themselves by what they made happen, and losers define themselves by what happened to them. You don't know when the end is coming, but you still need to fight like the second mouse who gets out, gets right off, and gets put back in. And the only certainty that I can give you is that it's the same thing that every other mouse, every other person who got through that period went through. And you won't die. And if you do die, you won't care because you'll be dead. Only do things that only we can do. It was about doing things that we didn't even know we could do yet, which became one of zero. And that's why that became the brand that I'm going to continue to wear for the next few years and build that association. But I think that that kind of encapsulates my personal life goal, which is like, what would I do if I weren't afraid? And what would I do if I knew I couldn't fail? And the idea that I will never wish for fewer epic stories at the end of my life. And I've never regretted failures. I've always regretted things that I didn't try. And so just along those lines of trying to create more bias internally towards action rather than inaction, and normalizing consequences of failure as we said earlier, win or learn. Fear is a mile wide and an inch deep. And so it looks like this ocean that you're going to step into and drown. But as soon as you step into it, you realize it was not that deep at all, and you can keep walking through it. And I just love that visual, because a lot of times when it's like we have this anxiety around this big decision we have to make, if you actually take the step and realize that it's not death, you're not going to drown immediately. There's plenty of other steps you can take from there, even if you get a little wet.
But in the end, you're doing it for yourself, because every training is not for the surrounding. You do the training for yourself. You do it to become better and make a better version of yourself and test yourself.
It's because we as human beings need one of two things. It's always going to be one of two things. And the first is the one that I'm going to tell you you're going to need to do. You need either a tragedy or you need a goal so big that it draws you, it pulls you out of bed. It's much more difficult to be pulled towards something than to have something chasing your ass.
Don't let anyone tell you you can't do something, because you can. The only person that you have to try everything. And in trying, you find out where, if you can do it for one, or hey, I might need to train up some, or did I win the race? No. And it's those kind of things. You gotta go for it, guys.
Everybody else's success represents the possibility of what you could do. But if you don't believe you can do it, guess what? You're gonna be some janky ass, lazy, bum ass, depressed, sad, miserable person that wants to invite everybody to your pity party so that they can feel sorry for you because you grew up in a dysfunctional house.
It's about doing. It's about exchange. It's about constant exchange with you, your peers, with people around you, with the world. It's about exchange, because exchange means there is a change. There's constantly happening some transformation. This is what everything is built upon.
People give me love and invite me into their homes, and they want to socialize and hang out with me, but they wouldn't want to do it if I didn't show up. No one will ever have you in mind for the things that you have in mind for yourself.
Beautiful thing about working out and fitness and controlling your own world, because you own this, man. This is all you, you know? When you're in shape, man, you don't walk through life, you run through it. And then while you're running through it, you're seeing somebody to your right and left who are positive too. You start associating with them as friends. The whole network's positive. Together, collectively, you got f***ing kicking it. So, go for it, guys. Whatever that fear is, write it down. Tell everybody you're scared of it, and just go f***ing beat the shit out of it. And I guarantee you, what that was, you're so freaked out about, you're gonna find out it's not that big of a deal. And then you're gonna come back and say, you know what? That fear I had for so long that was lurking over me and, you know, and making me, you know, skeptical and scared and less confident, I just faced it in the eyes. And you know what? I beat it down.
Bro, you need to literally pick up your video game machine, smash it to fucking pieces, walk out your house, get in your car, and go live in your car. Go somewhere. Go check into a homeless shelter. You need to shake up your life like it's never been shook up before.
So I encourage you, man, whatever that fear inside of you is, whatever you're, you know, you've been making up every excuse, making, you know, so you can get everybody else convinced that you're not doing it for that reason, even though inside you know you're just being a bullshitter. Just let it out. You know, say, hey, you know what, I'm scared. I'm really fucking scared, but I'm gonna give it a shot. How about some support? They get behind you, you know, and then you go for it, and you, bam, you overcome that step. The next step's even bigger and bigger. Next time, then you're on top of the mountain, man.
So that means there is a up, there is a down. Since we are born, we have inhaled 50% of our times, we have exhaled 50% of our times. Our heart, the same. Sucking the blood, pumping the blood, also the same. Meaning always 50-50. Always the exchange between left and right, up and down, bright and dark, in and out, success and failure.
You've got to place yourself in the midst of a storm, and it's got to be a self-created storm. Otherwise, you know, most people have to wait till the shit comes crumbling down before they take action in life.
So realizing this, really understanding, it's not just about up. It's not just about taking. It's about taking and giving.
That's how I bring out sharpness. That's how I bring out the best out of me when I walk on fire. Because if you make me feel too comfortable, I'm playing to win. And to win, I will destroy you. I will do everything to win.
You guys gotta risk it, man. Don't let anyone say you can't do something. Don't let your mind say, oh, I can't do it anymore, to your body. You can. You just gotta push past it. That's just in us. We stop ourselves before we really need to be stopped. We listen to society and what the normality, the average people are saying, oh, that's too much, it's too much. Too much for them, man, not too much for you.
You have to make a choice. Either you're going to resort back to your old place and remain comfortable and miss the opportunity, or you're gonna have to want it bad enough to get out of your comfort zone.
But if you're with yourself and yourself is always beating you up, you're not gonna want to be with yourself. If I'm sitting out here by myself in the evening, by a fire, cup of coffee and a cigar, and I'm constantly beating myself up over my failures in the past, I'm not someone that I want to be alone with.
You should be a monster, you know, because everyone says, well, you should be harmless, virtuous. You shouldn't do anyone any harm. You should sheath your competitive instinct. You shouldn't try to win. You know, you don't want to be too aggressive. You don't want to be too assertive. You want to take a back seat and all of that. It's like, no, you should be a monster, an absolute monster, and then you should learn how to control it.
But the goal remains a goal until you write it on a piece of paper. Then it becomes a vision. It's what is the vision? What is the vision? Because the only reason I'm here, the only reason we're here today is because of our yesterday.
People think it's easy. It's not easy. Because everybody think, hey, I train, I go do individual skills, I go do that, I get an agent, I get this coach, and I'll become a pro. It doesn't work like that. It has to be about luck, hard work. Where you come, it's meant that you should be where you are.
You can doubt the process, question your talent, be uncertain that you're making progress, disparage your accomplishments, permanently feel like you're not working hard enough no matter how hard you work, never give yourself a break, fail to fully feel gratitude, be terrified of never reaching your goals, and still end up in a place that your 20-year-old self could not imagine you'd ever get to.